welcome back to Stats and Tats. My name is Dr. Joe, and today's question is, what is sampling? So to start out with, obviously, we cannot do research on the entire population of the planet, 8 billion of us, even down to a single biological sex. We can't do a research study on just all of the men or just all of the women, because we're still talking about billions of people. So what we do instead in research is we sample from a given population. So when it comes to annotating these things, the population is designated by a capital N, right? And when we're talking about sampling being a smaller portion of the larger population, we utilize the designation lowercase n to represent the sample. And sample is going to include a variety of factors. Many people are concerned with the size of the sample. The size of the sample is very much like the size of your bank account. It could always be bigger, right? But what we really want to know about the sample is it representative? Is your sample a good, once again, lowercase n, is your sample a good representation of the overall population? If you want to know how teenagers feel, ask teenagers, develop a sample of teenagers. If you want to know how senior citizens feel, develop a sample of senior citizens. And it sounds kind of like an obvious principle. I mean, it makes perfect sense, obviously, but you would be amazed at the amount of research that does not utilize a representative sample. So that's the number one priority, is representation. Of course, we want a good sample size, right? So if you can sample 200 people rather than 100, you're going to get better diversity, better responses, and also going to be more inclusive in who you include in your study. But it's always important to be mindful when you're processing research. Who is included in the sample and why? And does it represent the overall population very well? Another thing to consider too is when we are looking at the sample, it is only a little snapshot of the overall picture of the population, right? So for example, if I wanted to know about the Star Wars movies, there are 9 of them now in the central story arc, right? You could examine, for example, episode 7, The Force Awakens. And in this case, it would be a small sample of a larger population of movies, but still give you a very good idea of what the overall quality of the film series is all about.